Anyone? So. Steve, how are you? After our pledge of allegiance, we will have a moment of silence for Thomas Fisher. Yes, Thomas Fisher Nosworthy Jr., who's a veteran, former town of Walk Hill planning board member, councilman, town supervisor, and town historian. Daniel Tope, father of Dan Tope, former town of Walk Hill councilman. Jack P. Grun, the Minnesota Valley High School student who tragically lost his life in a car accident on Route 17. Go with the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening. We'll first have two public hearings today. We'll start with our first one. Madam Clerk, can you read the notice?
Please take those in public hearing will be held in the town of Town on September 26, 2024. At 7:25 a.m. at Walk Town Hall for any adoption of a local law in the town of Bethel for the year 2024, which for the 2025 fiscal year will override one section 3 C, which requires that all local municipalities cap their allowable tax levy growth at a lesser of 2% or the rate of inflation defined as the average monthly national consumer price index calculated by the Revenue Department for the 12-month period ending 6 months prior to the start of the fiscal year. Any resident town of office entitled to be heard upon subject to local law, that such public hearing copies are available for reading, review, or the town hall and town drive through the year. The town hall will take every effort to ensure the hall is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and or reasonable accommodation for contact the town clerk.
I'll note, Mr. Supervisor and Board, that the public hearing notice was posted in public in accordance with law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Frank. Public hearing is open. Anyone wants to come up? Have a conversation. State your name.
If I could just make a comment, Mr. Supervisor.
Yes.
With respect to exceeding the tax cap in the 2025 budget, it's necessary for the town to have the flexibility to do so, whether or not that is ultimately going to happen. To do that, it's necessary to pass a local law on those years for the year in question, and that local law must be passed before the budget is adopted. Just because the town may elect to adopt this local law, it does not automatically mean that the tax cap is going to be exceeded for 2025. This is just done almost as a safeguard in case it turns out during the budget process that it becomes necessary. Thank you.
If I could add to that. You know, this is something we've done every year. It is a, CYA. We've never gone over the tax cap. We have no intention of going over the tax cap this year. But it is something that it's a timing thing. If we don't do this now, and God forbid, you find yourself close to the date where you have to pass the budget or pass a budget, you wouldn't have time to set the public hearing, have the public hearing, and then vote on it. So it's all a timing thing as well. So again, we do this every year. I don't know a municipality that does not do it. Again, just to, for the what if, the oh my God, but again, every year, we stay under the 2% tax cap every year. And, I don't see this year being any different, so.
Just to add to that, as Councilman Coyne said, this is something that we've done every year that was recommended by the state since the inception of the concept of a tax cap. And it is a practice that is exercised throughout other municipalities in the county. Just recently, the controller that used to be on this board recommended it to the town of Chester to exercise that same process. So it's a blanket, it's a security blanket, but I don't think any member on this board, including the supervisor, has any intent to go above the tax cap. And we work very diligently to ensure that.
Thank you. Anyone on Zoom? I believe the councilman pretty much explained, very good why we're doing this. Anybody else in the audience? Anyone on Zoom? That being said, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Second public hearing, Madam Clerk.
Notice is hereby given that introduced before the town board of the town of Waltham, New York, a local law entitled a local law of the town of Waltham County, Maryland, amending chapter section 203 of the town code entitled stormwater management, which would update the town's existing stormwater management regulations. We take further notice that a public hearing will be held by the town board of the town of Waltham on September 26, 2024 at 7:25 p.m. at the town hall, 99 Tower Hill, Gordon, Maryland, to consider the adoption of the proposed introductory local law. Any resident of town office entitled to be heard upon said introductory local law at such public hearing. Copy of the for review at local town hall, 99 Tower Hill, Gordon, Maryland. Town council will get the opportunity to hear the successful person with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and or reasonable accommodation can contact the town clerk or the town board of the town hall for the reason why.
Again, Mr. Supervisor and Board, I'll note that the public hearing notice was duly posted and published. This is a local law, which would be considered some routine code maintenance and updates with respect to the town's stormwater management law. We have with us this evening, Mr. David Fritz from MHE Consulting Engineers, the town's engineers, who was instrumental working with Commissioner Ingracia to provide these proposed code updates, which are being, it's intended that they're incorporated into our current law. And if any of the board members have any questions, I'm sure Mr. Fritz would be able to respond to them. The board's been provided with the updates, and it's also been available to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. Anyone in the audience? Anyone on Zoom?
So I'd like to ask, if it's okay to have, Mr. Fritz just give a brief summary of this and the impacts and, the action that we're taking tonight for the public's, awareness.
Right there, the podium.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, so that's all. Okay, yeah. At the podium, gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for coming.
Good evening, no problem. Thank you, gentlemen. So, a very short synopsis, I guess, is, in January of this year, 2024, New York State DEC came out with a revised, permit for, MS4, which the town of Walpole is. The new permit had updated permit requirements.
Yes, I'm sorry, could you just, for those listening, explain what the MS4 is?
And just turn the mic towards you.
on. Absolutely, sorry. I think it's on. Probably just not swinging.
Just so everybody knows what an MS4 is.
Yes, MS4 is a municipal separated stormwater sewer system. So it governs the stormwater devices and controls within the municipality, which is also governed by the DEC, and there's a permit that's out there for that. So the revised permit that was issued by the DEC, like other ones, has minimum control measures in it that the town is responsible to adhere to. This particular permit is in place for the next 5 years, and it requires certain actions by the town over that 5-year period to comply with the permit. So on the stormwater code end of things, most of these were very general permits. They're general comments that reference, or general revisions that reference just the new permit titles, the times, the dates. There was some additional information that was provided regarding SWIP reviews that are done under the planning department's auspices and projects that come in, because those requirements are also mandated by this particular permit. And then there was some other revisions in here to good housekeeping measures and stuff from DPW, road cleaning, things of that nature. Post-construction stormwater management, whereby projects get completed and there are responsibilities to maintain those stormwater devices and report back to the MS4, because we are responsible to report back to the DEC. So in general, that's what was presented.
So what's the biggest difference, Dave, from what we currently have to the change of this local law?
I don't think there was anything that was really big in here, Eric. I think probably for the most part, one of the things that we did change was the way that field data was gonna be collected as far as private stormwater systems. A lot in the past, we have asked that the developers provide GPS coordinates, et cetera, information on these stormwater systems. What we had done in here is we provided for a means where the town is going to go out and pick up this information in the GPS format and try to include it in our internal mapping and stuff that we have, so that we can keep it updated on a more active basis and be able to present it as an open book. See, that's probably the biggest one.
So it's because the changes are so, I won't say minimal, but it's not drastic. It
Right.
still doesn't fall within the requirement of a CEQA review.
No.
Okay.
This is what we would, this is what we categorized as routine agency administration, code updates. There's no new initiatives here.
Good.
This is more like streamlining some language, particularly in the erosion and sediment control inspection section. We've updated the data, Dave has updated the data, I should say, and we've streamlined some of the language. We've eliminated some paragraphs that were redundant. We've made it a little bit easier for developers to manage and the town to manage.
Also, aren't we also doing a mapping system more online with all the stormwater that we have around the town?
That is the intention, yes, as we proceed forward. So as I was saying, with the post-construction stuff, that was one example, but it's a way to start gathering the data and setting things up so that we can better abide by the up and coming requirements.
Right. And we're also going to be presenting in a different subsequent local law in the near future, some changes on monumentation and things of that nature. So we'll have that.
Thank you.
No, thank you, David. I would ask if anyone, after Dave's presentation and summary, if anyone else from the public has any questions, please feel free. Cool.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Anyone on Zoom? With that, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
So next, we have a presentation that we here in the town of Walker a lot. We have a EMS that started at one time volunteering, now they're not. But they do a phenomenal job here. And they were taken over about 2 to 3 years by this young lady. And she has done a tremendous job bringing, town of Walk Hill EMS to the point where they are today, which they are. Just recently, when I met with them and with the board did, they're about, at that time, or 2 weeks ago, a week ago, over 5,000 calls, which is tremendous compared to all the ambulance corps in Orange County. They're way above. And then I learned that she got honored recently. So I wanted to recognize her tonight, because of all the hard work that she's been doing, with Town of Walk Hill EMS. So today we're gonna honor Alexandra Wishaw, who is a dedicated healthcare professional with a Bachelor of Arts from Penn State University, an MBA in Health Administration from Oswego. Since 2018, she's been a vital member of the Town of Walk Hill EMS, where she served as executive director since 2021. In addition to her position at Walk Hill EMS, she works as a paramedic at NYU in New York City. I don't know how she has the time to do both. Her commitment to excellence has earned her prestigious recognition, including the Harry C. Webb EMS Leadership Award from Orange County EMS Council, and the same honor for the Hudson Valley region. So today, we are recognizing Alexandra for receiving the EMS Leadership Excellence Award from New York Volunteer Ambulance and Rescue Association. It is a great honor for the outstanding service that she has given. With her leadership, I see the Town of Walk Hill EMS soaring to a lot more better organization and hopefully a better building. Can you please come up?
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Anytime you want.
Oh, man.
We'd like to congratulate you for achieving the New York State Volunteer Ambulance Rescue Post-Check EMS Leadership of Excellence Award.
Thank you. I obviously really appreciate this, and I'm incredibly grateful, but I wouldn't be here without the people in the back of this room, the EMTs and paramedics that respond to calls every day in Town of Walk Hill. We passed 3,500 calls today, and between 12 and 1, they responded to more than 9 calls in those 60 minutes. So I'm really proud of the Town of Walk Hill and National.
Well, we must be, really good. I know one young man who comes back to work here all the way from Jersey, South Jersey. Am I right? Am I correct there, Mr. Beaver? Comes back, he loves the Town of Walk Hill. He grew up here, and he moved, and he comes back, he gives back to his community, which is fantastic. Good job. Thank you.
With it.
I have no idea. Next, we're gonna move on to public participation, 3 minutes on agenda items only. Anyone? Anyone on Zoom? Okay. We'll move on to correspondence. So, Madam Clerk, do we have any?
We do. We have a letter from the Knights of Columbus, number 16519. This letter finds you well on behalf of the Knights of Columbus Council, St. Titus, Brownsville, Council 16519. Our Lady of North Carolina Parish, local veterans, and the almost 5,000 guests in the entire community. I want to extend our deepest gratitude for the generous sponsorship of the Wall That Heals event, which took place from September 15th through the 18th of 2022. This traveling memorial was an extraordinary opportunity for our community to honor the courage and sacrifice of Vietnam veterans. Your support was absolutely crucial in making this meaningful event a reality. We have received countless expressions of appreciation from community members and veterans alike, all of which could not have been possible without your dedication and generosity. We understand that it's been 2 years since the event, and we certainly appreciate your patience as we took the necessary time to finalize our budgetary and donation related obligation. We wanted to ensure that every detail was carefully addressed, allowing us to properly thank those like you who played such an integral role. In closing, this letter is a special gift to commemorate your support, and to express our heartfelt appreciation. We hope it serves as a reminder of the lasting impact that you have made on our community and the veterans who have served our country with honor. Thank you once again for your commitment, generosity, and patience. It was truly an honor to partner with you in bringing the Wall That Heals to Middletown, to our community. We look forward to working together again in the future. With sincere appreciation, Peter W. Sears, who is their past grandmother in public relations department.
Very good.
And we also have a letter of thanks from the Middletown Kiwanis, Dear Supervisor Serrano. On behalf of the Kiwanis Club of Middletown, I want to thank you for your support of our Flags for Heroes project, providing for the lights, chairs, and giving us the assistance of the Department of Public Works is invaluable for this project's success. The ceremony was very moving, and we appreciate your participation in it. This year, our speaker, Lou Grassi, has told us that everyone needs to look around to find heroes in our community. We thank you for helping us so others can acknowledge the heroes in their lives. You definitely helped the Kiwanis Club of Middletown to improve the world one community at a time. And that is from Bill Clarkson, who is the secretary of the Middletown Kiwanis.
Thank you. In regards to the first letter 2 years ago, the Wall That Heals that comment was behind Mount Carmel, and it was very touching to have that wall here in the town of Walker. You know, it was during the time that our own Vietnam Veteran Memorial Wall was being built, and it was just a time that, you know, a lot was going on, and I had the opportunity to help them put it together, and to go there and to see how touching, see the men and women who went there, and really grateful for them bringing that to the town and to be part of it. And as for the Kiwanis, the Flags for Heroes, they were on Orange County Trust by the bank, by over there by Price Chopper. If you drove by there during a nice breeze, you see those 100 flags standing there all in the wind. It was a remarkable sight. I believe the flags are still there, or did they take them down? They took them down? And I think it's important that everyone remember that each and every one of us, all of us, in one way or another, do have a hero. Whether it's mom and dad, someone that you grew up with, we all have heroes, and we should recognize them. Okay, Madam Clerk?
Resolution of Town of Town of Norfolk adopting local law number 7. It's 2024, whichever. To override the tax law limit established in General Municipal Law Section 3C for the fiscal year 2025. Hereby resolved that the town of Norfolk hereby adopts local law number 7 or 8, entitled a local law to override the tax law limit established in General Municipal Law Section 3C for the fiscal year 2025. A copy of which is attached to the part of the resolution. And be it further resolved that the town clerk be and is hereby directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting, and in the local law book of the town of Norfolk, and the due notice of the adoption of the local law to the Secretary of State of New York, and the Office of the New York State Controller. And a motion.
So moved.
Second. Quick discussion.
because I didn't get a chance before. I just want to say, pretty much what you've heard, but the 5 terms that I've been honored to be here and represent the board for in town of Walksville, you know, myself and this board has worked very diligently to stay under the tax cap, even when some budgets presented from previous supervisors were challenging. We worked very hard to make those, not have any layoffs, not have any cuts, not raise taxes beyond tax cap. And I don't think anybody would have any intention of ever exceeding that number. I know I never would. So, yeah, I think again, the reason for this is simply logistics. Thanks.
Mr. Coyne,
Yes.
Mr. Valentin,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Vanilla,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Supervisor Serrano.
Yes.
Resolution of Town Board of Town of Walkville adopting local law number 81, entitled Local Law of the Town of Walkville, County of Orange, amending chapter section 203 of the Town Code entitled Stormwater Management. Hereby resolved that the Town of Walkville hereby adopts local law number 8 of 2024 entitled Update to the Town's Existing Stormwater Management Regulations, a copy of which is attached here to a part of the resolution. And further resolve the town of North Bay is hereby directed to enter into local law in the minutes of this meeting and the local law book of the town of Walker and the notice of adoption of the local law of the secretary of state. And motion,
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Coyne,
Yes.
Mr. Valentin,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Vanilla,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Supervisor Serrano.
Yes.
Resolution of Town of Walker authorizing request for speed limit reduction on New York State Route 17 Resolve the town of Walker, or the town supervisor as designated as hereby authorized to coordinate proceedings, execute all appropriate documents, and take all necessary steps to seek a reduction of the speed limit on New York State Route 17 between Bolingbrook Road and Motion Turnpike from 55 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour. And a motion,
So moved.
Discussion.
Second for discussion. Wanna go?
Go ahead.
So, the reason for this request, that's kind of the corner of my ward and Mark's ward. There's been numerous accidents in that section. I mean, if you think about how busy Twin Cone is, and even in the summertime, you know, or the Quickway Diner, the traffic coming in and out of those 2 parking lots is pretty extreme for a 55-mile-an-hour road. Secondly, there's the 2 exits on and off the Quickway in both directions there as well. And there's a lot of truck traffic. And when the last accident that just occurred in front of Quickway Diner, it was a loaded truck. Somebody's coming down there at 55 and somebody pulls out right in front of them. It's pretty much impossible to stop with that mass, right? Because you've got forces, mass times acceleration, right? So you have that. And to bring it down, it's almost impossible. Unfortunately, I mean, very fortunately, no one got injured in that, but the potential could have been extreme. It pushed that car right through the wall of the diner where regular people are normally eat. And I spoke with Teague and had a conversation. His regulars weren't there that day for various reasons. 2 regulars just finished. They were sitting at the booth where the front of the car ended up, and they were actually talking, you know, at the register. So it was just good luck, I guess, or, you know, the Lord looking down, whatever you want to say. That nobody was injured, but the potential for that injury is certainly a lot, which is why we're requesting, you know, it's just for that small section. I don't even think it's a half a mile, just to get the speed down, you know, to prevent the accidents in a high traffic area. Thank you.
The only thing I wanted to add here is where I support this for all the reasons Councilman Johnson just stated, and we've heard the horror stories in that section. The only thing I will say to my members on the board is that think of achievable goals. My experience with the state in reducing the speed limit this drastically is that their first reaction is no, and maybe consider taking a baby step and not making it 35, maybe making it 40. We had this rejection as well over in Scottstown, Collarboro Road when we tried to reduce that. for various reasons, they rejected it, but, I'm just fearful that they're gonna see 55 to 35 is a big gap, is a big difference, and they may reject it because of that. Just food for thought there, but I still, if there's no change, I will still support it, but just food for thought there.
I agree with Councilman Valentin. I think that's why we got shot down on the other one, because it was too drastic. And they kind of chuckle at us, but, I mean, 45, 40.
Yeah.
I think is more attainable. If,
So can you make a motion to amend?
yeah, absolutely. What are we thinking? Are we
I
thinking
think
40 or 45?
45.
45?
45.
45.
I make a motion to amend.
Second that motion.
To amend the resolution on the table to change the first resolve, if it's third whereas, and the first resolve from a reduction to 45 instead of 35, that's the
It's an
motion.
increase,
Correct.
increase
Yeah.
from 35 to 45.
Well, change.
Yeah.
Change the
45
reduction to
45.
45.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that hopefully will be more successful in achieving what we want to do.
Is Mr. Coyne's motion, is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk,
All in favor of the motion to amend?
Aye.
any further discussion?
Just that I know you think 10 miles an hour isn't a lot, but just from a physics standpoint, every mile an hour is a foot and a half a second. Right? And also.
That's what I was thinking.
I know you were. The energy in a collision is actually 1/2 the mass times the velocity squared. So if you're squaring the velocity, 10 miles an hour is not just 10, it's 10 times 10, right? So that's a factor of 100 in the equation for the energy in a collision you have to absorb. So 10 miles an hour is significant.
I studied for that topic. Please.
The only other note for the public is this is, as everyone I'm sure knows, 17K is a speed highway. So we can't just go changing speed limits without the state doing it. We have no authority on that road, so we must petition New York State to consider the request of the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Coyne,
Yes.
Mr. Valentin.
Yes.
Mr. Vanilla,
Yes, ma'am.
Professor Johnson,
Yes.
Supervisor Shawna.
Yes, ma'am.
Resolution of the town of Waltham, recognizing National Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15th to October 15th, 2024. Therefore, be it resolved, the town of Waltham is all citizens throughout the country and recognizing and celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. And is further resolved that the town of Waltham encourage all town employees, officials, and members of the community to recognize and celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month through culturally relevant activities and programming. They are going to invite you to vote now and
Second.
By the board.
the board, led by Mr. Valentin. Mr. Coyne,
Yes.
Mr. Valentin,
Yes.
Mr. Vanilla,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Supervisor Serrano.
C.
Right.
Very good. Next, we have, councilman comments. Let's start with Councilman Coyne.
Thank you. I'll start with highway. So in the month of September, we finished up our summer projects. The grant work in Northern Woods has been completed. Well, we will be receiving $185,000 from the county for upgrading the drainage systems and paving roads in Northern Woods. Evan Court, Mariah, and Mayor Road were paved in addition to our 2024 paving list because of some of the grants that we've received. On Loch Lomond, we topped the culvert pipe with 5 inches of binder. We're gonna see if any more settling occurs, and if no signs of settling, we'll go ahead and mill and pave the road at the end of October. In the meantime, the guide rail should be installed sometime mid-October. Our road mowers are out along with our sign crew. The mowers will be making their last passes for the season in October on our roads, edges, and retention ponds. The sign crew will be out replacing signs as necessary and trimming around signs that have vegetation that has grown around. We'll be adding asphalt speed humps in some areas of the town. which will be done in October along with pothole repairs. That was part of the whole speed hump, what do we call that, George?
Pilot program.
Pilot program. So the roads where it really makes sense, I'm just gonna go ahead and make them permanent now. On the construction side, we'll be finishing up small drainage projects that we started in the spring and now have time to finish. We'll also be resuming the drainage project on Karen Drive. We replaced 300 feet of 24-inch culvert in the spring. We're hoping to replace another 300 feet this fall. We'll also be working on a project in the shop, installing a concrete floor in our cold storage building that houses our bucket truck, tires, and oils. Moving on to Veterans Affairs. Not much to say other than, we were trying to get, well, post 1181 and 151, we were trying to get a joint parade together for Veterans Day. Running out of time and just not gonna happen this year, so that's been canceled, and hopefully we can get it together for next year. But that being said, and I'll mention this again next month because we've got time, it's in November, but there will be a ceremony at the Elks Club, and also at 151, they have one there as well. So on November 11th at 11 o'clock. So, but I'll talk about that again next month. Moving on to comments, couple things. You know, we lost Tom Nosworthy. Good man. You know, Supervisor Serrano stated, you know, he was a planning board councilman, supervisor. What we call it? Historian. Tom was the guy who'd come and give his 5 minutes. Always throw a joke. He was always trying to make people laugh. Just a great human being, and he will be missed. The other thing I'd like to say is congratulations on your award. And you know what, to the whole EMS crew, I look forward to strengthening our relationship in the coming years. I think it's time for the town to have a stable EMS group in our town. I think the residents deserve it. And we'll work together to make that happen. I think that's a great thing. Along with all the volunteer firemen that we have, we've got fire protection, we've got a fantastic police department. This is really the last step in really when you talk about public safety. So I just want to thank you all for what you do every day. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Before we proceed, Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
just for the record, the laws that were adopted, I checked with the state, the local laws adopted tonight, the tax cap will be local law number 7, and the stormwater management will be local law number 8 of 2024. Of course, but right, go. Thank you.
Okay,
Very good.
thank you, Will. Thank you, Louisa.
Thank you. Councilman Valentin.
Okay. For our police report, currently our staffing in the police department is 53 strong, full-time police officers. Sergeant John Adamek had recently retired from the department. We wish him a great success in all his future endeavors. And consequently, we are in the process of filling that vacancy. To date, our arrest year-to-date records are up 36%, and that equates to 892 arrests for 2024 versus 656 2023 year. That is just a reflection of the growth of the town, the activity of the town, and of course, I say this to everyone, our town is growing, and with growth comes the good and the bad. And unfortunately for us, we have an excellent police department that addresses the bad on that side of the growth, especially within our retail businesses. Our parking summonses, they're up 150%. That's 20 2,431 for the year 2024 versus 969 for the year 2023. Those guys in the parking department are actually doing an excellent job. They address handicap parking violation. They address when you go shopping and you get frustrated because cars insist on parking in front of the entrance of the supermarkets or the department stores and not moving. And so those are things that they're working on. On September 5th, the Community Council held its annual cookout that was attended by 80 members of the community. Our next town Walk Hill Police Community Council meeting will be held on Thursday, October 3rd, and will be held at the Town Community Center. For those of you that are new to the town of Walk Hill, and those of you that are not new to the town of Walk Hill, our Police Community Council meets and they discuss issues within your neighborhoods, issues within your immediate resident area, and help create community awareness and a police patrol within your neighborhood watch that helps address those issues that you may be having. The next Youth Coalition meeting will be held on Tuesday, October 15th at 7 p.m. Our Youth Coalition is currently planning several upcoming events. Our Youth Coalition is currently planning several upcoming trips, including a visit to the Liberty Science Center and the Intrepid Museum. On August 24th, the annual Cop versus Youth softball game was held at the Little League Field. The first pitch was thrown out by Kathy Olson, Mary Olson's daughter. Despite a great effort by our officers, the youth prevailed. And I'll let the Chief speak to that as to who the pitcher was to that game. This year, the town provided funding for a building to house dogs that come to our possession. Recently, the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets conducted an extensive inspection of our protocols in the new building. I'm happy to report that we passed the inspection. And if you haven't been back there, you haven't seen it, there used to be just a makeshift shelter there for dogs that we took in. And ever since the inspection and the standards came in, we were able to acquire grant money and build an actual shelter for these animals where it includes heating and air conditioning and a nice pad where they can be comfortable while they're staying here in our care, which is big. Let's get back here. Just briefly, as far as our parks, we continue to do our weekly mowing and park maintenance. We've completed 300 yards of safety servicing to the playgrounds that were due to this year. Both the new digital signs are in and running at Town Hall and Memorial Park. And we're set up. It was set up and worked the Community Center Day event this past Saturday. For those of you that attended, it was a great event. Thanks to our Parks Department, our Highway Department, our police, our EMTs that were there, everyone that was engaged, and especially our town staff that helped make it happen, especially out of George's office, Darlene, Mary Lou, and Larry. They'll be setting up a trailer for this Saturday's County Fireman's Parade in Pocatello as well. As far as as Councilman Coyne stated, the passing of Tom Nosworthy was sad, and it's always sad to lose individual that you work with so closely, that you build a relationship with, and makes you realize that life is short. And that statement that we always, we hear it as when we're young, and we don't appreciate it till we're much older, that if you have your health, you have everything, right? So, may he rest in peace, and my condolences again to his wife and his family. Congratulations to Alexandria on your award, and hopefully much success to the town of Walk Hill Ambulance Corps I look forward to working with you guys and making it grow. You're here to stay. You provide a tremendous service to the town. It's noted. And, you're like that hidden force. You come, you take care of the sick and you leave and you wait for the next call. And I think that we give you enough accolades and acknowledgement for that. So, thank you all for all you do and taking care of our residents and responding to their needs. The last thing I wanted to add is everyone knows school is in session. So please, when you're driving out there early in the morning or early afternoon, be aware that our kids could be coming off the bus or walking to a bus stop, and just be careful in your driving. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Manella.
Good evening, golfers, paths for the golf course, in future works, for widening and paving to make it easier for golfers to go ahead and golf. Special thanks to all that came out to our community day. It was truly a success. This coming October, we have, Town of Walkville, trunk or treat on Tuesday, October 29th. Come out, dress up, have some fun, get some candy. That's for October. For September 29th is one of my favorite days of the year. It's National Coffee Day. Had to put that out there. October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so please keep that in mind. Rosh Hashanah starts October 2nd. Yom Kippur is October 11th. Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day is October 14th. And lastly, I just want to say, didn't get to know Tom Nosworthy that well for my short stint here. But in my short stint, Tom Nosworthy's loss is immeasurable to us. And his passing leaves us wanting a need that was given to us before that is not there now. And it can never be measured.
Thank you.
That's all.
Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Supervisor. Start with the building department. I actually have 2 months of data to go over quick, so this is for July. 130 permits issued, the certificates of completion. Occupancy was 117 issued. Total fees collected were $367,466. And again, that's so large for the normal about 100,000 because the Golden Triangle project is starting. Addressed 46 complaints, carried out 1,144 inspections. For the month of August, 205 permits, certificates, 113, total fees, 87,973. Addressed 64 complaints and carried out 1,102 inspections. So as always, a great job by that department. Water and sewer. The crews had repaired 3 service leaks this month, 2 water main breaks as well. And a great job by them. A big thank you to everybody for their understanding. They don't have water. We know how difficult that can be. The fall fire hydrant flushing that everybody likes so much is set for October 7th to the 20th. So there will be the possibility that you can have discolored water. It should clear up quickly and is still safe to use. Fire hydrants that the town owns will be flushed as well as privately owned ones as well during that time. The fire hydrant upgrades are still continuing. Recently, one was replaced in Scotstown, and there is 2 more in the works as well in the same area in the next few weeks. Brykowski Wellfield expansion project still ongoing, moving along as planned. New wells have been drilled. Piping is the next step to get it to the treatment facilities and the upgrades in the treatment facility as well. Good news, we get our water from groundwater, so it's in wells, not reservoirs. And even with the lack of rain that we recently had, our water levels in the ground are still in excellent shape, so no water shortages that we will be expecting. The wastewater treatment clarifier project is still moving along as foreseen with no problems, no delays. The second clarifier is actually in works now because the first one has been completed and is back in service. The communication upgrade at the water treatment plant is still moving forward, no issues there. The water tank rehabilitation project, you heard me mention before, again, moving along, no issues, no concerns. And some really good news, you heard me mention this before, but the last round, of quarterly sampling for the total trihalomethanes and haliocetic acids, we're well within the required limits, so no letters have to get sent out again. So this makes it almost a year, so that was a great job by our employees and the engineers to address those issues that we've been battling for so long. And as always, the operation and maintenance of both plants run 24/7, 365. So a great job by all the guys, gals, and people in those departments that, keep things moving forward. Some comments. First, I would just like to mention that the Pocatello Mountain Hope Fire Departments are hosting the 109th annual volunteer firefighters parade. It's Saturday. It starts at 2, and it's right by the Pocatello Firehouse. And the roads will probably be closed there until about 5. So if you're driving in that area and not attending the parade, just be aware of that. You heard Councilman Manella say Rosh Hashanah, so Happy New Year for that. Begins obviously the 2nd and goes to Friday the 4th. And I would just like to recognize the National Hispanic Heritage Month as well as the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Both of those, well, especially the breast cancer is, something that I hold personal just from my experiences with it and family members. And just would like to say that, early detection is the key to any cancer. So if you have anything that's just out of the norm, please get it checked, follow through what you need to, because early detection is how you beat that stuff. And it's pretty nasty stuff to beat. Condolences obviously to the Nosworthy family. Tom was a big loss, but I just have some positive news. You've heard him talk about the mastodons when he comes here and have the teeth and all the things that he presents. Well, just recently, there was one, not a whole one at this point, it's a lower jawbone and teeth uncovered in Scotchtown. So more to follow on that, and hopefully, his legacy will continue with another mastodon that we can do something with. So there's that. And then the last thing I want to talk about, as a teacher in the school starting, the Friday night football games and the parties that follow afterwards is, safe driving for our teens and young people. As you know, we just lost a 17-year-old tragically. And since I've been teaching for 27 years at Pine Bush, it's over 30, I think 35 kids, are not graduating and starting their lives because of reckless driving, under the influence driving, making a bad decision to look at your cell phone. You heard me mention that a mile an hour is a foot and a half a second. So if you're going 55 miles an hour, or 50 miles an hour down 302, and you look at your text that you just got, it's like closing your eyes and going the length of a football field. I mean, I don't think anybody of us would drive in a car, drive the length of the football field and shut our eyes. But that's what happens when you look at your cell phone just for a second. So, I can't stress enough how important it is to be, aware and safe when you're driving, because it's very sad, to have to talk about this. And again, it's getting dark earlier, right? Because the sun passed the equator. We had our solstice. It's on the way down south, right? To 23.5 below the equator. So that'll be our winter time where we only have 9 hours of daylight. So you will be driving in the morning and it's dark. Kids will be walking to the buses, so keep that in mind. And unfortunately, the sports buses will be dark too, letting them out at 5 o'clock shortly. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson. Well, pretty much everything I want to speak, everyone spoke about, but I'll touch a little on some of the things. So Community Day, which was last Saturday, it was a successful event. Mother Nature, I want to thank you for giving us a beautiful day on that day. We had a car show, which was, from my understanding from people running the car show, one of the largest ones they ever had. There's some really nice cars. The mobile prostate screening unit that we had that came up from Mount Sinai in the city, also told me that I think they did 25 tests. And that is the most they ever did at an event, which, again, great. 60+ vendors, 11 food trucks, vendors, and great entertainment. We had a 50s, 70s, 60s, and 70s band, salsa band, dance groups from Mexico, from China. And let's not forget, we had the unicorn rides.
Well, that's why we had good weather, because we had the unicorns
There you
there.
go.
Unicorns are real.
Councilman Valentine and I had the opportunity.
To ride a unicorn?
Well, we didn't ride it. It pulled us, and for some reason, the car kept leaning in his direction, so I don't know what it was.
Yeah, we believe that.
But it was a great event, and I want to thank everyone that made it possible, from Town of Walk Hill, the DPW, Highway, Parks, the PD, of course, the Gallery of More, who let us use their facilities, and of course, my staff, Darlene, Mary Lou, and Larry, who, put it all together for the last, couple of months, the logistics meeting, and make sure that everything went according to plans, and of course, I can't forget, the one person that did a lot of work in putting the map together, which is Joe Andre, who's the, coordinator of the Office of Emergency Management. Joe does a lot for this town, and I don't think he doesn't want the recognition, but he is, a gentleman that if you call him, he gets it done, which is phenomenal. So I want to give him a shout out. Next, trunk or treat, October 29, 4 to 6. Please come out. Please come out, dress up. I'm trying to convince my board to dress up that day. Anybody got any plans?
Oh,
Yeah?
I'm gonna dress as a supervisor.
You might. That'll be nice.
Colonel Sanders.
And of course, that's here at town.
Here in Town Hall, in the back. We usually, have a good turnout, and I anticipate, again, we'll have a big turnout. We are getting, emails from people who want to participate and give out, we'll have a DJ. I'm not sure if Ghostbusters are showing up. I'm pretty sure if they're available, they will be here. How about you two, gentlemen? Are you gonna dress up?
I heard you dressing up as a unicorn.
No.
I was an FBI agent last year, so I might be again, I'm not sure.
Very creative, I like that, yes. I don't know what I'm dressing up yet, so. In regards to the LCD lights, signs that we put outside, there's two sides to it. One is down, because there was a piece missing, and hopefully that'll be done within the next week. And we'll have both signs out, and there'll be, you'll see the events, things that are going on, and hopefully any information we need to give to the public as, people drive by, they'll see that. I think that's, something that we needed. We got it. We also have it at the, Veterans Memorial Park, so that'll be good. The parade, so there is a parade on Saturday. Are you still coming to the parade in your car?
Some vehicle, I don't know what yet, but yeah,
We're gonna walk.
I'm not walking 2 miles. You see how fat I am? That's not.
Okay, and he wants to be.
Me and
the
Johnson are
supervisor.
driving.
I'm gonna walk.
What was that last comment, Eric? What did you say?
I'm a little overweight or don't wanna be a supervisor.
So, I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to a volunteer fire, parade, and I heard it's good, so I'm looking forward to it. In regards to Tom, who, we lost, and, during, when we named his old road after him, Conway Road, we named it for him. And we gave him the sign, where he was at,
Nursing
the
home.
nursing home. He started talking to me about the dinosaur. And I could just imagine his face if he would have heard what Councilman Johnson put out there today. I had the opportunity to listen to him over the last 2.5 years, and not only was he a great friend to this town, he was a good friend to me, and always was available to speak to me, even though when he came to give his moments in time in the town of Walk Hill. 5 minutes, and he would go on, and always, like Councilman Cohen said, gonna be missed. He really is. Coming out of my office and walking over to the historian room, and he's not there. And when every now and then I look by, its light is on. The assistant historian is there, and if anyone knows his wife Sherry, please keep her in your prayers and reach out to her every so often. EMS, thank you. You are a service that is much needed. A lot of people, you know, it's like that type of service. If, if you need it, you're glad it's there, and you won't complain when you don't need it. But it is a service that in this town, we do need it. And when you're having that crisis, there's nothing like seeing a man or woman in blue coming in through that door to help you. That is all they're there for, is to help you. So, thank you. Alexander, very well deserved. With that, please be careful, and I'll move on. Madam Clerk?
Well, it's time for the annual employee for election inspectors. They're always short-staffed in Goshen. They pay $325 for the day. It was $50 for the 2-hour training that you do have to take, prior. So if anybody's interested, Board of Elections, 360-6500, or their website, you can find all the information. Early voting starts on October 26th and runs through November 3rd. There are 8 sites throughout the county. The closest one for the folks here that if they would like to vote on is the Middletown Senior Center. The community day was fantastic, and there was a unicorn, a 45, so everything was a unicorn. Tom, I've known Tom probably my entire life, and I know he was excited when they decided to retire and travel around the country. Pulling a 5th-wheel trailer with everyone was not a good idea, but he did it for almost 2 years. And he was a wonderful human being. We had to keep him out of trouble because he would come in here with tools and move and was planning on building something, and we would say, I'd make the secret call to Herb and Parks and say, Herb, you gotta get up here. Tom's got a chainsaw. So we certainly are gonna miss him. And then I just want to share a story. And I hope I pronounce his name right. Officer Bagley. I was at an event recently with the supervisor, and Officer Bagley was there. And an individual came over me during the visit. And I don't know that I've really seen like police work in action. But this officer subdued the gentleman. He didn't disrupt the entire room. He moved him into a different area. He remained calm. The officer remained calm. The gentleman was probably having some type of a mental health crisis. But the officer never raised his voice. He never raised his voice. He never raised his hand. He never put his hand on his weapon. He just spoke to him in this gentle way, and the man kept going on and on and on. And I don't know that I've ever seen that before in my life. And I think that we bring a lot of folks here, and honor them. And I think some night, we should try to get as many officers as we can and bring them here and honor them, because they wear guns for us every day. And I'm telling you, I think, Chief, I sent you a message about that officer, and I saw him at Community Day, and I gave him a hug, and I said to him, I've never seen, I guess I've never seen police in action. You know, I've seen them come and help with different things, but I've never seen that. And we see so much in the media that they're not good, they're bad, they're this, they're that, they're shooting or doing whatever. And I'm certain that our 53 are probably just like that officer. And I think, like I said, we should bring them here. I don't know, we should buy them lunch, we should do something, because we are probably some of the luckiest people, probably in New York, between we have this EMS group, we have the volunteer firemen, they're gonna be on it on Saturday, and we have probably one of the best PDs, I would say, in the state. And that's all, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So just to add to that event, that was, out in the middle, having a conversation with a couple of, the residents, and he did a phenomenal job getting that gentleman away as we were having a conversation, and he did a fantastic job. Me, myself, being a retired police officer, and how we handled it was definitely Great job. Chief, you're up.
Yes, thank you, Louisa, for the kind word. De-escalation is the key. It's our training now, rather than escalate the situation, de-escalate. It's always easy to go up. Once you go up, it's very hard to come down. So we keep lowering our voice and trying to make the person calmer. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't always work. You might have taken an arrest, but in most cases, so but thank you for the kind words. Yeah, we'll take one. That's fine.
Well, we said the cops.
Thanksgiving's coming, yes. Louisa always comes to dinner for the state. Thanksgiving, thank you for that. Alexandria, congratulations. You complimented your team. Yeah, you have a great team. You have a great team. You have a great leader. So you all do a great job. Great leader. Congratulations. Congratulations. All team work very close with EMS every single day. They're top notch in the service they provide to our community. Brian Davis, our Brisbane Council President's here. Brian, we spoke about the great job he did at the cookout this year with over 80 attendees. It was a coming event. It started with a handful of people and turned into a full-fledged event. So congratulations on that. I'm not going to say much about my pitching and the softball team, this year. I'm sure it runs over 5 innings. You ain't need any help, clinching, With respect to the dog shelter, we get an inordinate number of animals, 100 plus every year, specifically dogs in the town. And we've done everything we could to give them the best shelter possible. It's been very difficult at times, but things to the conditions, we bring them indoors, keep them in our faith. And the town was kind enough to help us with funding. We have a great shelter now, which overwhelmingly passed the inspection. The inspector was so happy because in the past they explained to her what we were doing, the doors inside the winter. And she was happy with that, but when they came into the shelter, the first inspection, and the shelter's been up and running. And they were ecstatic about this facility. We also thank you to the town board for finding funding for that. It's gonna make a big difference to animals over 100 plus every year we deal with the police department. The parade was mentioned repeatedly, so it's gonna be this upcoming Saturday, approximately between 2 and 5 p.m. to maybe 1:30, a little bit earlier. It's gonna begin at Mount Hope Road and then go down to California Avenue, to kind of 78 to where we are there, and makes a left and the Web Road to American Legion. It's going to be turned up the directions of the map to our website or go to our Facebook page or Instagram. And the map is on there. I would avoid the whole area. I think it'd be there to do the parade and talk on the school. School grounds are a great place to do a parade. There's plenty of parking there, Maple Hill and Mount Hagen. And other locations, I'll get there early and park. We can get a water fire truck, emergency personnel, for any elected officials, I'll be there and I'll have a ride. So if anybody needs a break when they're walking, once you get the car, take the part of the way and walk part of the way. I'm sure you're also walking 2 miles, though, so if you need a break. With respect to Supervisor Nosworthy, I never had the chance to work with him. As a supervisor before, I was hired by the town, but I got to know him as a historian and other encounters I had. And he did various tasks in the town. He was the messenger. He helped out in town hall all the time. We filled in sometimes security at the Tilted Park. And he was always here with this interesting presentation, but the dinosaurs, that whole thing blew my mind about the dinosaurs being here. And it was his unique way of presenting the issues he raised. Obviously, some of them were funny and really had an interesting way of communicating things. So the police chief, the reports that happen every 24 hours come past my desk in the morning. And we do 22,000 cases a year, right, on average. So I don't review them all, but the unusual ones get flagged for me. So one day I'm going over the reports in the morning and I see a report of a pirated boat in the town. That was unusual. That's why it got sent to me in the morning. And it came from Tom Nosworthy when he was filling in as a security guard at Circle Park, and some kids took one of the rowboats in the middle of the night, went out in the park and left the rowboat on the other side of the lake, and it was a report of a pirated boat. Supervisor Tom Nosworthy. He was such an interesting man. He's certainly going to be missed, and he's going to have to try about this until his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next, we got public participation. What? Public participation. 3 minutes, come up. Anyone in the audience?
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
10 Lady Road. I haven't been here in a while. I kind of missed the meetings a little bit. But I just want to comment a couple of things. The sign up front is great. One of the things I think we should do is announce the town board meeting at that sign. Because wouldn't you like to have this place built? So people know about it, so just an idea. Hopefully you're already thinking about it, so. The other thing is, I was wondering, where is the agenda posted on the website? Because I went onto the website while I was here, trying to find the agenda, and I found the last agenda I found was July.
I'm sure.
I mean, maybe I just missed it.
I'll pull it up and I'll show you.
Okay, thank you. Because I mean, you know, I like to look at the agenda so I know. There's no agendas here, right? You don't pass them out anymore. Over there? Oh, there, okay. I'm walking late, so.
The agenda and the supporting packet is, they're both on the website as PDFs. I'm gonna pull it up.
I can show it to you
I
later.
don't want to interrupt you.
Okay, yeah, fine. I understand there's some, extra money for the American Rescue Act, funding that you guys are gonna be deciding on how to spend it in the next few months. And just a couple ideas that I have. You guys are probably already thinking about these things, so just ideas. One of the things is that, I mean, I noticed that the paving is going on at the golf course, and it looks great, because I was there yesterday. But it's only being paved, like I went on the back nine, and it was open, but it was only paved in the spots that only had gravel before. And I don't know if the intent is to pave the entire thing, which would be good, but perhaps you're only gonna pave the gravel. So I don't know, I think if you have that money, maybe you can use it to pave the whole thing. So that's one thing I was thinking about. The other thing is, I mean, I live near Brummel Road, and I saw a car accident just the other day, right at the corner at Ebert. And you speak about putting those little bumpers that kind of stop people. That's one thing, but I'm also wondering, and we've asked before, I know Brummel Road is a state road, that maybe we can advocate to the state. Put sidewalks on Brummel Road. And I know that, you know, it's a state road, so you would have to really advocate for this, but we want this to be a community. But if we don't have sidewalks to connect us, how do we do this? I mean, I walk my streets all the time. I don't walk across that street, it's too dangerous. And I don't want to get hit by a car. So that's just another idea. If you can use that money, maybe you want to use it for that. And the last thing is, I was wondering, I remember a couple of years ago that a whole bunch of money, and maybe it was the same money, this American Rescue Act money, came to the town. And you gave extra money to employees during COVID. And a lot of employees got it. And my recollection is that there were, I don't know, maybe 20 people who were all clerical staff who did not get this. And I don't know what's changed since then. Maybe you've already given it to them, and I'm not aware of it. But if you have extra money, boy, that'd be a wonderful thing to do for your employees. So those are my thoughts. See you guys.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep.
Anyone on Zoom?
Just one comment on Brummel Road sidewalks and the ARPA money. We definitely could not use the ARPA money for that, but that doesn't stop us from you reaching out to the state and suggesting, hey, you know, the town is growing, we have more foot traffic on that road, what can you do? But the ARPA money would not qualify on that because it is a safe road.
The other, you want to talk?
Will, do you want to touch on the,
Sorry.
you want to touch on the, she mentioned the money that was given. I don't think there were 20 clerical staff that did not get the money, but the COVID money that we gave to employees way back when.
Only certain people qualify.
Well,
Yeah,
that's,
it was the premium pay was available for
Essential workers.
essentially first responders,
Right.
DPW and the police on that.
but people that were deemed by us, we passed a resolution to make them essential when they weren't, so we passed the resolution first, and anybody that fell within that
That's
and went to work when other people were home or isolated in part of their office for half a day when the other people were not there. These people worked their regular shifts, did the regular stuff, were exposed to COVID, much higher levels. But we needed them to do what they do, just like the police coming in every day, right? And EMS does such a great job for us. They're essential, employees, essential responders, first responders. So when we deemed the DPW to be that way and passed that resolution, hey, thank you to them afterwards, once we got the American Rescue Plan Act, because one of the things it said right in there at the beginning was premium paid for employees that stepped up during the pandemic. So that was one of the things that we pushed. And I know I pushed very hard for that because I think our employees did an amazing job and they certainly deserved it. I believe it was $1.50 an hour for hours worked. So equated to, I don't remember the exact number, but maybe around $4,000 an employee, $3,000 an employee. But again, it was the ones that were deemed, essential and first responders that normally weren't that way.
And I
that was
believe
done
this,
so by resolution by this board.
I believe it was the state that identified what essential worker was.
But we also added the DPW to that. Like, we expanded on that with the resolution. If memory serves me correctly, but yeah.
And
Okay,
those that were able to work from home were not, they weren't essential workers, they were working from home.
But my understanding is these clerical staff, many of them came to work every day during the pandemic.
Yeah, but you can't spend the money.
I understand that, but you can deem them essential. Because they were essential if you hadn't come to work.
That ship sailed 4 years ago.
Well, shame on you guys.
thank you, appreciate it. Okay, and regarding to the signs, we're gonna use those LED signs for all type of information, including, announcing the town board meetings and work sessions. We just got them. We're just getting to, for lack of a better term, play with them to see, what can we put up there and, so it's gonna be expensive. There'll be a lot of information on those signs. Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't think we had our clerical staff coming into the office. They were working from home. Those that did come in, were addressed, but for the most part, they were working from home because we gave them laptops and we gave them remote access into, the site.
Well, I know that's true.
I wouldn't be saying it wasn't.
How are you? Armando Colleretti, president of Hillside Village Condominiums Board. I've had some people talk to me about water pressure in the main lines, I guess, or in their units, where their plumbers are seeing 90 pounds of water pressure coming into some of these buildings.
I'm sorry, which complex?
Hillside Village Condominiums. Thank you. And I've also heard from other people in town, because my in-laws live in the town of Walk Hill, that they've had issues with water heaters or water softeners, to bypass valves blowing out of them. And when the plumber checks, it's 90 pounds. Yet when we spoke to the town water department, one of our board members called, they said there's no way, it can only go to 60 pounds. But yet plumbers are measuring the water pressure coming in at 90 pounds. So are you folks aware of anything that's going on? I know the town has said it's only 60, but multiple plumbers have said they've checked it and it's 90 pounds, which is a lot of water pressure for a residential home, right? And some of these appliances. So is anybody aware of what's going on with water pressure?
I wish I had more water
No.
pressure. Yeah.
I am
Well,
not
if you
aware.
get 90, you're gonna know it.
Yeah.
Because that's a
So
lot.
what I would recommend is if they're having that and, so call the water department, we can go out there and test that
Yeah.
and see what the actual pressure is.
So-
If it's
so-
90, it should be
Then
able
go
to be
out there.
recreated, right?
So it might be fluctuating, I don't know, but all I've heard was from the phone call that was to the water department said, no, the most is 60. But these plumbers have said, we've checked it and it's 90. So that's a pretty big discrepancy of 30 pounds of water pressure coming into people's homes. And again, affecting maybe if it's an older appliance. I know for a fact of one resident, right by the town of Walk Hill Ballpark, the water softener, the bypass valve blew right out and she had water shooting in her basement, which caused a flood and everything else. And, was that because of 90 pounds of pressure or not? I don't know. But I think that's something that somebody should look at. And it could be fluctuating. Maybe during the day when everybody's at work, if the pressure's higher. and at night it's lower, I don't know. But I've heard several complaints about that, and the people at Hillside Village are concerned that if that happens and they're not home, I mean, we could have a major issue, right? And it's not just there, though, like I said, I've heard it in the town of Walker as well. The second piece I just want to touch on, I know you talked about water, and for the past 6 years or 7 years, we haven't had really good drinking water. We can drink it, but you shouldn't drink it if you have health issues, all of that with letters. Are you saying now that the water is good to drink for everybody?
We test for basically it's a chlorination byproduct, so we have to treat our water basically with bleach, right? That's what kills the bacteria. So when you do that, if you have any kind of organic matter in the water, which is not at the treatment facility, but it's in the distribution lines and the water tanks that we just rehabilitated, which might be a reason why your fluctuation in pressure changed, because we had to shut tanks down and then get you water from another direction or another tank, which possibly could have changed pressures. But when the tanks are up and running, if there's any organics like leaves in the bottom of the tank, that'll mix with the chlorine, and the byproduct is the trihalomethanes. So if you've ever swam in a swimming pool with chlorine and there's a leaf in there, you're gonna have way more trihalomethanes than you would in the water that's coming to your house. So it's not that it's not safe to drink. The standard, I believe, is like 80, and I think 3 or 4 of our testing locations that were closer to the treatment facilities were below and right at 80. But the ones that were really far out, like in Washington Heights, were the ones that were above, because there's a lot of line for the water to flow through, and when it sits with the organic matter, it reacts. So those are the things that we addressed to try and fix, to clean it up. If one location is high, we have to send a letter to everybody in the district. It doesn't mean your water was above the limit or somebody else's, but somebody at that location where the test was in that area could have had elevated levels. So what I'm saying or trying to explain is that in the last, I think, 4 rounds of sampling we've done, 3 rounds of sampling, all locations have been below the action level, which means the trihalomethanes are below the 80 parts per billion. So, you know, that means they're fine. But again, if you're at 79 parts per billion or 81, as far as consuming that, it's gonna make no difference to your health, really. But if it's above the 80, that's when you would have to get the letter. And I don't think anything we've had was even over 94, you know, or 95. So it's not like you're consuming something that's going to make you sick.
Okay, so if it stays that level below 80, are you sending out a letter to residents telling them that you kind of fixed the problem?
No, the letter that they would get that says that the sample results were above action levels for this, this, and this normally goes out. So when there's no results above an action level, then you don't have any letters that go out.
Okay, is it, I mean, people right now that get the letters, you know, are wondering about the water. And if they don't get anything, they don't hear anything, they don't know whether they should drink the water or not, right? So I think if you're doing something good and you're correcting that water level issue, I think at some point you should send just something to the town on a website saying.
It is actually posted on the website. The results do get posted, you know, and your water quality results yearly posted. You can look that up. It's an annual thing. But again, if like we sent out a letter that everything was fine, and then in the next round, one location is higher, everybody's gonna get a letter that says, you know, it's elevated, right? So
Understood.
this is kind of a, you know, right now, and we're still fighting the problem. I don't think we fixed it. I think we addressed it by, if we took the water tanks where the storage is, it creates your pressure. You know, we shut them down, we drain them, sandblast them, fix anything that's like possibly, you know, rusted with welding, paint them, seal them, refill them, and then, you know, they're in service. A lot of the locations did have leaves and things like that in the bottom, and the fire hydrant flushing is also very important because the lines allow sediments to settle in there, and the water sitting in there, if it's flowing through, it's not going to react. But when it's sitting, it reacts with the chlorination and the organics and makes the trihalomethanes and haloacetic acids. If you have water sitting like that for a long time, which is why we do flushing twice a year, and you see, or you heard me mention that it can become cloudy, when they turn it on and open it, that takes any of the sediments or any of the materials been setting in the pipes and cleans it out. That's why we do flushing. Right. So if you didn't do the flushing, you know, you would have higher levels of that. But it's honestly better to have a higher level of that than the non-chlorination, because the non-chlorination would allow for much more problems with your health having water with bacteria and other things in it. They're not in the bacteria, but they're in any of the organics or anything that's in the water that they'll be attached to. So, it's, I guess, health wise, it's probably better to have those than not have enough chlorine in your water. But again, like I said, the last, I think, 3 rounds of sampling we do quarterly have all been low action levels.
And I think that's great. If it goes for 5 or 6 months and you don't have any change, maybe it's just something to send out and say, hey, well, it'll be kind of have it at a good level. Not gonna say it's gonna stay there, but just
Yeah.
information for the folks that know.
But it is posted on when we do our annual report, the water quality, it's posted online and stuff, so you can look at it, but
Well, just keep in mind too, a lot of folks in the town of Walker
Yeah.
are elderly, probably our age, are getting older, and they don't all go to a website. So, when they see a letter that comes from you, some read it, some don't, but.
That
Yeah.
was what we had, it's been like, for the last year, we have not been above the limits, we've been good.
That's great news.
So
Right,
we
I mean,
thought
you-
about sending something out, but after having a conversation with the water department, it was like, we decided not to because people, oh, here we go again, water is bad, they're not gonna read it. So we figured, no letter, they don't get it, it's been probably almost a year that no letter has gone out.
Right.
So all the levels are down.
Well, you have to take the good with the bad. You
Yeah.
did something good, you fixed it. If it's been a year, I think you should get applause for that, right?
Mhm.
And if it goes bad, it's not, you're just trying to keep on top of it. But, it's something good that you've done, right?
So the
So I
premise.
think you should get some kudos for that.
So the premise, I guess, from the water department is no news, is good news, but to Amanda's point is that if people are not always on the website, people are not always on the computer, and so they get this notice that, hey, bad news is here, and maybe a letter would be nice to have that, hey, we're up to the standards and it's been 4 months and it's still good. I will say the unfortunate thing here, that always gets, the residents nervous is as Councilman Johnson mentioned. So I'll pick one location, Washington Heights was an issue. The state does not let us just send letters to Washington Heights.
Right.
They require us to send it throughout the entire town. So now everyone that didn't have an issue is now thinking that they have the same issue as Washington Heights. And we can't even tell them that it's just Washington Heights. That letter it's a general letter stating the numbers. So it's unfortunate there, but maybe we should reconsider sending a letter of the positive results on that.
Maybe have
I
a
don't
stamp
have
on the
that.
envelope,
What?
just have a stamp on the envelope saying good news,
Maybe we should.
because I get your point,
Send a postcard,
you know,
maybe the
people just throw that away, right?
Yes.
Oh, here's the numbers again, Jesus,
You
I
get
don't know.
beat up for everything else, right? And
You're
you've
100%
been battling
right.
this for 6 years, you've done something good, it's better.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta take the good with the bad, right? So if it changes 6 months from now, wait a year and see if it gets better, but, take some credit for that.
Point well taken.
One
Thank
last
you.
thing, Armando, if someone knows that something like that happened, they think it's depression, they gotta call, water department and have them come out there and test it.
Okay.
Because if after the fact, you
Right.
think that's what happened and we're not sure, you're talking about Hillside, you're talking about someone near the Little League Park, that's pretty far away.
Right.
So, those are the things that maybe a call should be taken to the, and, not just say, oh, yeah, it's not supposed to go above 60. Hey, look, can someone come out here and check it?
Right.
And they should go out there and check it and see where the pressure is.
If I hear another one, I'll make sure that happens.
All right, no
Okay.
problem.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for your time.
Appreciate it. Anyone on Zoom? Anyone else?
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Brian Davis, President, Police Community Council, resident of the town of Walk Hill, 106 Anna Court. Just want to touch on a few things. I'm sure they were highlighted previously, but from a resident of the town, active member within the community, I think it's also lends credence to the fact that Community Day was an enormous success. I think this was the biggest Community Day we've had thus far, okay, from my perspective. It was great to engage with so many community partners. Our town residents, fellow town residents, and surprisingly, we did get the opportunity at our table to speak with a lot of families within the town. Some are new, some are old. Educate them as to what we provide from a community council perspective, as well as from a youth coalition perspective. So seems to be a great deal of interest there. But Community Day, to me, demonstrated the diversity within this town, a great level of diversity, and that really stood out. It touched on just about, I would say, probably about a half dozen or so ethnicities. So thank you for all that coordinated such. I know you behind the scenes, but hard work is over here. I know. So thank you, guys. All right. Also, yeah, it's great to see full house tonight. That's great. Thank you, Mel. Okay. But anyway, no, seriously, our end of summer event that was staged last month or earlier this month by the community council also was one of our biggest end of summer events, the cookout. We staged, so we decided 3 years ago to do this on an annual basis because we normally don't meet during the month of September. But to bring the town residents together, politicians, first responders, this was a great event that continues to grow annually. So I do want to thank the DA's office, Chief of Police, the PBA, Wallkill East Rotary. They do all of our cooking, just like they do the cooking at National Night Out. And also my fellow community council board members. And lastly, Chief, this is for you. The Mets are recruiting for pitching come Monday. Okay? Reach out. Thank you. Listen, have a good evening, everyone, and please continue to do what you're doing.
Thank you.
I know you guys don't hear it enough, but you're really appreciated. I know it's tough. You're in a hard place, but at the same time, you keep the town interest at hand.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you. Anybody else on Zoom? Anyone else? That being said, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?